Okay, we are back, and what episode are we doing?
We are doing how to price your menu properly long term.
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay.
Imagine a perfect world where you can build a restaurant, open the doors, and make loads of money. Unfortunately, those days are over. It takes great leadership, hard work, and long hours to operate a successful restaurant. Together, we can make it happen. This is Restaurantopia.
Welcome back to Restaurantopia. We have an episode about how to price your menu for long-term success. Dave, let's hit it.
Brian, what's up, buddy?
Hey, good. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Anthony?
Good, man. Good. Any better, it'd be you.
Oh, wow.
The pious one.
Hey, yo.
We're bringing it back.
There again? All right. Okay. All right. Let me deflate my head here.
Yeah, that's good.
This is a topic that I've been wanting to talk about for a while, and we always touch, we've done episodes on menu pricing and talked a little about benchmarking and things. I wanted to kind of wrap this all up into, hopefully one episode. And we at Restaurantopia believe in evergreen content.
Yes.
Some of this is going to be specific to the current climate, starting the second quarter of 2021. Mm-hmm. And there's definitely some things happening in the supply chain and pricing and stuff that makes this appropriate to talk about right now for restaurant operators to get their menu pricing right. There will be general information as well as far as how to do it properly. So,
and correct me if I'm wrong, this is me being a neophyte in this industry. We're still seeing issues in the supply chain. History will be the true determination of this, but we're still seeing producers have issues in their production or taking advantage of some current market conditions. And I don't want to say profiteering, but it could be.
I'm going to go ahead and say it. It's happening.
Okay.
Yeah.
The market's moving so fast as the broadline food service provider. Like, there's no games being played on local independent food service operator. But the manufacturers and global conglomerates that are multinational companies that are controlling our food supply, it's not 2019 anymore.
Yeah. And I think we're probably doing an episode on the whole supply chain thing, so I don't want to beat that horse. But anyhow, so let's get into menu pricing. So How do you price your menu properly off the rip? So you're starting a restaurant, you're starting a new menu, whatever you're going to do, you really got to start, you got to do the due diligence and cost out your ingredients and do a food costing of your entire menu. At the least, do your top 20, 25, and then the top couple in each category. But you have to start. If you're starting brand new, it should all be costed out. But if you're looking to start a food costing project, I can make some suggestions on how to take it so it's not, because it could be daunting. It could be it's a big it's a lot of time and it's a lot of effort. But I'm telling you, it's going to be well worth all of that, because you're going to know exactly where you're at. Knowing what your theoretical menu should run versus what you're actually running is very important. Because that gives you the variance of things that you can control. Because if your menu is supposed to run 32% and you're running 40, there's 8% of error in there somewhere. And I'm not saying error like you screwed up on the spreadsheet. I'm saying error like waste, theft, overcooking, shrinkage, all those things.
Shrinkage. Can I pop in here?
No.
I'm going to. I know what you're saying, and that you want to make it, bite-sized chunks and digestible for people. This is something that you have to do. This is pulling the weeds. This is doing the push-ups of life. You need to do this.
Yeah.
This is the foundational data that you need to do any KPIs to figure out how and what you're making money. Put it this way. If you had rent due every month, which you do, or if you own the building, you have a mortgage, and that was variable, but you had no idea of knowing what it was, would that not affect your business?
Yeah. No, and it's shocking I'll just give you my experience as a sales rep. So unless something's changed in the last 7 or 8 years, it's shocking how many times you get in the scenario of a restaurant operator, the bank account's going down, they're looking at food costs, they think it's high, they go right to the sales rep. My food cost is out of control. I need to look elsewhere. Your prices are too high. They're coming. Maybe not confrontational, but they're coming at you with, listen, I got a problem with the money I'm making, and you're my solution. My approach to that questioning was always like, okay, well, what food cost are you running? So Anthony, you got an issue with food costs. What are you running food cost?
About 40%.
40%. What's the menu supposed to run? What's the theoretical of the menu?
Yeah, I got to talk to my chef. I'm not sure.
So how do you know 40% is a problem?
It just seems high. I mean, industry standard is 33%, right?
I mean, that would be the case for the industry, but I don't know if that's the case for you.
Yeah. I mean, it just seems high. I think you guys are just charging me too much.
So we probably should get into a project to see what it should be running based on the pricing.
Yeah, but it just takes so much time.
I know, but we would know, like, if it's supposed to run 35 and you're running 40, like, who are you mad at?
I mean, yeah, I guess you're right.
It normally doesn't go that well.
Yeah.
But that's and scene.
Yeah. But that's the conversation. Yeah. You have to know where it's supposed to be.
Well, the conversation should end if you can't answer that question. If you don't know what your theoretical food cost should be, then how are you going to argue it?
Well, but it's the same.
Or your actuals even.
It's the same thing. So one of the sales reps from Hillcrest Food Service comes into your operation, and we're able to save you 3%. Mm-hmm. Did you lower your food cost by 3%?
I love this notion.
No, you lower. Okay, so I can explain that.
Okay, go ahead.
You lowered your cost of goods by 3%.
Yeah.
You only lowered your food cost probably by 1%.
And you increase your inventory by 2%.
Okay, so here's the other thing. And again, I wasn't expecting to go down this road, but if you go out and either switch distributors or do something to save money where you save on your cost of goods, okay, if you do not continue to look at your menu pricing and you allow inflation and allow things to take that savings away, that money is gone.
Mm-hmm. Well, not only that, if you're running 30, you got to slide your metric.
Right, but if you're running 30 and I come in as this amazing sales rep and I save you 3% and I get you down to 29, okay? If you don't stay at 29, that's not my fault. And I didn't want this to become like a confrontational, like distributor versus restaurant, but I'm just telling you, like, that I did my part.
Dude, you're so right. No, you're so right. And I can tell you I was an operator. I was in the business. That's exactly what we did. Yeah. We went after you. You're charging me too much, but dude, we never looked at ourselves. People in general have difficulty doing that, right? Like it's hard to look in the mirror and blame yourself.
No, but I think post-pandemic, this is the required part of being an operator. Mm-hmm. Just like getting serve safe, just like having a good point of sale system, just like having online ordering, pricing out your menu is required homework. I'm sorry, it sucks. No one wants to do it. It's not fun. Delegate it, but you have to do it as an operator.
Well, and Dave said something really profound a couple minutes ago, because I'm a detail-oriented guy, and I'll get to the point where I chase my tail, fall in details, and I'm learning to get away from that. Mm-hmm. When I costed out my menus, it was from the top to the bottom, 100%, without fail, completely organized, and it probably took 3.5 times the amount of time it should have.
Correct.
If I would have just listened to Dave and costed out my top 20 moving items, I would have had 80% of the impact by, is it Pareto's rule? Is that what it's called? Pareto's principle? Mm-hmm. Where 20% of my items had 80% of the impact, and then the bottom 80% had 20% of the impact. Well, shit, I can live with 80-20. So if I just took the top 20% of my menu items, it would take me 1/10 of the time to cost it out, and at least I'm 80% better than what I was like 2 minutes ago when we talked. Mm-hmm. Right?
And maybe when you start doing that food costing, you'll realize your menu's too big.
Oh, wow.
That's a whole nother episode. Yeah. We talked about this before, but the gross profit versus food cost, okay? Just because you're running maybe an industry standard higher food cost, I don't know any bank that accepts percentages. Okay? So, I mean, when you go to make your lease payment, or you go to, pay your employees, or you go to put money in the bank, like, nobody's taking percentages. So,
likes,
likes and
Wait,
comments.
Are you serious?
Yeah, no, I tried to pay my car note, and
I thought they were like Bitcoin.
No, they're definitely not like Bitcoin.
I have 7 likes saved up. What am I going to do with them now?
Starbucks is taking Bitcoin now, I heard.
Crazy.
Yeah. 7 Bitcoin would be okay. 7 likes,
it's like
0.
$500,000. right.
I don't want to go because that's a whole nother episode, but don't focus as much on the percentages. Focus on gross profit of the dishes and of the categories and work those. Also, benchmark your pricing. A term we like to use at Hillcrest, patterning. Okay, so I learned this a long time ago from my mentor, is like, if you go out and you say, okay, I compete against Panera, let's say. My restaurant concept competes against Panera. And I look and I say, okay, Panera's at this price. I am 5% under them in pricing. Okay. Just maintain that 5%. You don't have to, now I'm saying this assuming that you have good sales and you have a good restaurant and good quality food and you have a good business and all those things. But if you're competing with Panera, you don't have to go up to their price. Like, your customer is good spending that 5% difference. They enjoy coming there, and they, whatever it is. As Panera goes up, just follow it. Okay, because they're going to move.
Well, they do, and Panera actually is a little tricky, because what they did a couple years ago is
they made a big move. Yeah,
they did made a big move, and it tricked me, because we study this a lot, and I looked at it. I'm like, they lowered their prices like 20%.
Well, you know why? Because everybody's like, Panera's so expensive.
Yeah,
it's so expensive.
But guess what else they did?
Oh, they cut the portions.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
It looks like a plated dish in New York City. Like you got like
at an
this
18
tiny little thing.
At an 18-course tasting menu.
Is this
right?
tapas? Or what is this?
Exactly.
But and I don't agree with what they did, but they were able to do that successfully, and it changed the perception. But for a local restaurant operator, there's some things to take away from that. And I'm not saying you do that, but there's some things to take away in the psychology of what they did there. Because they were viewed as somebody that was priced too high. They made a move, and now we're in the industry and we see it, and we maybe pay a little more attention. And I'm not saying the consumers didn't see it, but Panera's still doing business. I mean, it's not like, they didn't
do okay.
that didn't put them under. You know what I mean? But I think they made the right move. Now, would I have done that extreme? I don't think I would have. But the thought process of it is excellent. Like how, I always say, like, you got the chicken sandwich, you don't want to take it up a buck, okay? Just change the chicken sandwich.
Yep.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Like all of a sudden now it's a new menu item.
Yep. And there's no precedent for price.
Instead of
no
11,
basis.
it's $12.
Well,
you know what I mean?
because you didn't raise the price; you invented the price.
Right.
It's
exactly.
a different
You know what I
strategy.
mean? So if you're not going out and looking and changing your menu twice a year and doing those things, this is going to be difficult.
Yeah.
Well, and if you have some item on your menu that is super high in food cost, maybe it's time to revisit that. Are you going to
Be careful with that. Because you got to talk about the steakhouse model. So I'm a huge proponent of prime costs working together, right? So just big food cost doesn't mean much to me. Big food cost and small gross profit means a lot to me. That means I'm going to change my item.
Okay.
If I have a high food cost, like I'll run a strip steak at $40 at 50%, take $20 to the bank all day long.
Okay. No, I love that.
So when I'm charging $40, even though my food cost is 50%, what happens to my labor? Because my normal items are $15. So I did that $40 sale. All of a sudden, my sales go up, and labor is a function of sales. So when they're indirectly related. So when sales go up, labor goes down. So now food costs at 50%, but my labor went down to 10%. So now my prime costs are driving at 60%. So I'm kosher.
Yeah. No, I like that. I guess what I was kind of thinking of was, and I know you've talked about this, is the chicken wing versus the chicken strip analysis, I should say.
So right now it's a little bit of an uncertain world. So we're in the COVID environment. We're hopefully coming out of it. We are coming out of it. Screw it. We're coming out of it. We're out.
Yeah.
Are we
Yeah.
out? We're almost
I
out.
got a vaccine.
Yeah.
I got a vaccine. I'm not wearing a mask.
Two-thirds of the people at
That's
the table
true.
are vaccinated at this point. So there's pent-up demand. Okay, there's consumers coming out, and we're going to put this this article in the show notes, but QSR Magazine came out with a consumer trends survey that said that people will spend twice as much money per month at restaurants that they feel meet their cleanliness standards.
Ooh.
Yes.
So
As
people
Brian
are-
would say, clean is the new green.
Exactly. So people are willing to go out and spend their money. We've got
2020.
stimulus. We got all these things. There's money out there to be spent. Are you capturing it?
David, what's the number one thing you should be looking at as a restaurateur and looking at your menu? It's, we're in 2021, post-COVID. What's the thing that you need to worry about?
Well, I think we talked about benchmarking. I think that's very important because you want to know where you're at in the market.
100%.
But I think the other huge thing that's probably neck and neck with is inflation. You know what I mean? Because it's a given. There's going to be inflation. You know what I mean? Like things are going, every year you can look at it,
Look at a gallon of milk.
domestic national product,
look
wherever
at
they
a
call it.
gallon
Like
of
it's
milk.
like there's inflation. Now sometimes it's high, sometimes it's low. It varies, but there's going to be inflation. Okay.
But prices go up, and your customers understand that.
Yeah, and just to give you, again, to go against evergreen content, but right now, just to give you a couple of ideas, chicken is up 40%. Okay?
Wow.
Jumbo party wings are up well over $1 a pound. Okay, in the hundreds of dollars.
And then fryer oil on top of that.
Exactly. Beef's up 20%. Okay. Supply and demand is the craziest I've ever seen it. I've been doing this 15 years. This is the craziest supply and demand situation I've ever seen. This is a crazy time, and I think we have an opportunity as restaurateurs with a pent-up demand, people wanting to spend money, people wanting to get back out, people wanting to make up for last year that they didn't go on vacation, that they didn't, all these different things that they're doing.
That they didn't go to the
That
restaurant
they didn't go
and
out.
sit at
Yeah,
a
exactly.
patio.
That they didn't,
Like,
right. Yeah, I mean, Anthony, you just told me you went to a restaurant for the first time, in a
I
while.
went to a restaurant with you guys in the fall.
Sure.
And we sat outside, if you remember.
Yeah.
And that was the only restaurant I had been to. I went to one other, sat outside in the summertime. So in a year, 3 restaurants, 2 outside, completely distanced from everybody. This is the first time I went into a restaurant and sat down and ate and conversed with a stranger or someone I didn't know. So not a stranger, but I didn't know him so well.
Yeah.
It's a lot. 3 in a year, 2 outside. Very, very cautious.
Yeah. So that's happening. People are going back out there. So we've got this great demand. Okay. let's use it to our advantage as restaurateurs. You know what I mean? Let's change up the menu a little bit. Let's maybe, make it easier for the kitchen and slim it down and make the pricing appropriate, because people are going to want to spend money. And I'm not saying you go out and gouge the customer, but you have a responsibility to make profit, right?
100%.
I love that.
I mean, that's,
you do, because you have the livelihood of your crew. And listen, it's one thing to be scared that your customers are going to revolt or your customers are going to come back at you for raising prices, but we're not asking you to raise your prices 30%. You should take your incremental increases that flow along with inflation. I can tell you as an operator, I don't know that I ever thought about inflation. I don't know that I ever considered it.
No, because it's happening all the time, and you're not seeing it's like watching the grass grow.
Yeah, that's a great analogy.
I think you got to be looking at inflation, and as you said, people are going to be wanting to go out and spend dollars. And Anthony has a great episode coming up with desserts and how to increase ticket average. I think now is the time to really be looking at this stuff, because when the flood of people come back vaccinated and ready to go out to dinner, you have dessert, have drinks, you're going to be overwhelmed. So make sure that you do these changes now, and the customers will love you for it.
Yeah, so I want to walk through a scenario of inflation with you guys. Okay, so let's say you've got a restaurant doing $1 million in sales, just because it's a round number. Okay. Mm-hmm. Normal inflation, I think you can probably, it's going to be 3 to 4% if you average it out. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. If you got a restaurant with $1 million in sales, you're purchasing in food probably around $300,000 in food a year if you're running 30%. Okay. Now, again, I'm just using these to make these round numbers. Okay. 3.5% inflation is just over $10,000. It's $10,500. Okay, a year that you're going to spend more. Okay, if you do nothing. Okay. Now listen, if you do nothing that year, that money is gone. That $10,500 is gone.
Gone.
It's gone. Okay. Let me ask you a question, all you mathematicians out there. So if you got 3.5% inflation, okay, how much of a menu increase do you need to make that year to make up that $10,000?
Oh, this is a good one. I know.
Tell us.
It's 1%.
It's 1%.
Yeah. So it's the same rule as a distributor, right? So when a distributor saves you 3%, you're really only saving 1% of your food costs.
Yeah, because think about it. If you do 0.5% twice a year,
that's all you got to do.
Yeah,
and then do 0.5% on $10.
That's all you got to do to keep up. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's all you got to do to keep up. Now I'll tell you, this year, this summer, I expect a bigger number than that, inflation-wise.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think the opportunity right now with the pent-up demand and stuff, I think there's a point in time right now where operators need to make a move and get priced appropriately. Now, if you're out there priced appropriately, like I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to somebody that hasn't changed their menu in a few years. Mm-hmm. Because if you've gone multiple years without changing your menu and your pricing, you are way behind.
Yeah.
Way behind. And think about what you're doing to your customer.
Yeah.
Okay, think about this. They are used to this pricing for 2 years. Mm-hmm. Now, when you make a change, they're going to know.
It seems like a big deal.
But if you're changing up your menu and freshening it up twice a year, it flows, man.
So,
you know what I mean? And people are used to it. They're excited to see the new items. They're excited to see the variations. They're excited to see. They're not thinking, Joe increased his menu pricing on me.
This is one thing where the corporations do a tremendous job, and we talked about Panera. So in fact, that we partner with Winsights Technomic, right? And we have this deliverable report. So anybody listening, if maybe we'll put this up, or you could email me or whatever, just hit the contact and we'll give it to you. We developed this report to actually track what the corporations do as far as incremental price increasing. Mm-hmm. And so there's a coffee shop I go to. You may have heard of it, but it's a corporate coffee shop. They serve some really dark coffee, and I go with their signature one. And I notice, because it's right on my way, there's no independent for me to stop. I'm sorry, fellas, like I would love to, but I frequent this place. I go there and I notice that my coffee price keeps increasing. 5 cents, 10 cents, 15 cents.
Yep.
Do you think that stops me?
No.
I'm already in line. I already need that coffee like it's a need. But they do it so cleverly and so smallly and so incrementally that there's no way that I'd ever get pissed off about a 5% increase. No way. Or not 5%, 5 cents. Sorry, 5 cents.
Yeah.
I don't. It doesn't bother me at all. But then when you look at this report I'm talking about, you find out that this company did it probably 4 to 5 times throughout the year, just as you're saying, Dave. So the proof's in the pudding there. Like, listen, these are what the industry leaders are doing because they understand the financial aspect behind it, and they invest a lot of money into this analysis.
You're talking about pennies. I mean, this same coffee shop you're talking about, $4 or $5, whatever the name of it is. I get their nitro. Okay?
Yeah, nitro's
and when I started
that was
drinking
underrated, by the way. I think that's going to be the underrated comment.
And when I started drinking it, it was $3.75.
Yeah.
Okay, for a tall.
Yeah.
Okay, it's now $4.25.
Yeah.
50 cents on 375 is, again, not a mathematician, but that's well over a 10% increase.
Yeah.
No, but think about this. So you move 10,000.
And I noticed it, but I'm still buying it.
No, but you moved.
They didn't slap you in the face with it. It's like jumping into a swimming pool.
Yeah.
You don't jump into a deep end, ice cold water. What do? You step in, you get used to it, you wade out into it. It's much more pleasurable that way. I don't like the shock. Same concept. Just ease them into it. Sorry, Brian. I get excited.
I like the shock. But just
that's probably a personality thing. But
Brian's like, charge me $200.
No, but do the math. I mean, you got on 10,000 units, you got $5,000.
Yeah.
That's real money.
Yeah, sure is. But to Dave's point, we lack pricing courage in the independent realm because we don't have the curb appeal. We don't have that brand recognition or identity. We don't have the logo. We don't have the commercials. Maybe our parking lot isn't perfectly paved.
Because you never charge, so then you can never reinvest.
it's what comes first, the chicken or the egg.
Yeah.
Understood. Yeah. But here's the funny thing about it is a lot of our customers almost all of our customers run amazing operations, right? Mm-hmm. Even though they don't have the curb appeal, even though they don't have the parking lot, even though they don't have the commercials, they're still busy. So what's that tell you about their product and service?
Yeah.
That it's top notch. Mm-hmm. So what really matters most, and why don't we have more courage? Because in spite of these things, we're still doing a good job, or they're still doing a good job, and still have raving fans.
Yeah.
Your fans will overcome these hurdles to get to your food and service and get to you. You don't think they're going to overcome a nickel or a quarter or 50 cents?
No, it's non-consequential. It will not make a difference in your operation as far as customers, but it will make an absolute difference in your operation as far as profits and generating revenue.
And by the way, most of those people that are coming to your restaurant, they got a 3% increase this year due to inflation and cost of living increase, just so you know.
Again, they are willing to pay.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, no, and I think, again, it goes back to the comment you've made in the past, why are you apologizing, for your pricing? You know what I mean? So provide the hospitality. If you need some help with hospitality, go back to episode 52 with Bob Pakinowski.
Great one.
Earn the money. Get the hospitality down. Earn the money. Feel good about it. Feel like you're providing value to the customer.
Yep.
And go out there and get that money and do it right long term.
And real quick before I feel like we're coming to a close here, but you were talking about pricing your menu, and I can tell you how I price my menu is I figured out my costs. And say I had $10 in this plate, I charged $30 because that's 33%. Mm-hmm. I didn't bother looking down the road to see what my competition was charging, like the corporate competition especially. So I looked and said, oh my God, they're charging 35 and I'm charging 30. Well, it's okay to run 25% food costs. Like it's okay to charge what the market, there's a term market elasticity. So how much will your customers pay before it affects your volume, right? How far can you stretch them? And the corporations spend millions and millions of dollars on this and researching, market surveys and things like that. So why not pattern that behavior a little bit? To your point earlier, maybe you don't have to be as expensive because you do have some insecurities. Sure. It's okay to feed those so you can sleep at night, but at the same time, don't deviate too much from their model because you could be losing out on thousands of dollars and ultimately success. When we talk about food cost issues, labor cost issues, hell, that $2 or $3 for that steak may change the world for you.
Well, and go back to the beginning of the episode, like find somebody to pattern. Find 2 or 3 people that you can look at and as because they're going to move. Yeah. If you're going to benchmark a national chain, you either want to emulate or you think the concept's right or it's geographically makes sense to benchmark. Find a couple of them. Every quarter, go get the menu, spreadsheet it, and look at what they're doing, and just move with it.
Yeah.
If you have a 5% value, just keep the 5% value. Don't go to 6, 7, 8, 10 because you waited.
No.
This is one of the more impactful things I do for customers. In the consulting realm, was I survey prices at benchmarks just like that. So again, I implore the people, if anybody listening out there would love to take a look at this, give me a call, give me an email. I'll sit down with you and we'll go over some benchmarks, establish who they are, and help you with the data I have, and populate a spreadsheet that you can work with moving forward. Because it could change your world. I've seen it. I've seen operators not change their prices in 5 years, and all of a sudden they do. And now all of a sudden they got vacations, they got managers, they got remodels, they got success. It's crazy.
That's really encourage our listeners. Take Anthony up on that offer.
Please.
Amazing. This is, I can tell you.
It's real money.
It's not only real money, though. It is life-changing.
Yep.
Anthony helping you in your operation for free is life-changing. Please take him up on the offer.
Yeah, by all means. Listen, I'll do all the work for you. I just need a few questions. Yeah. It doesn't take but a couple hours. You might have to reprint your menu, but that being said, I've done it.
You're using the QR code. What are you going to give people COVID menus? Like, no, it's a new day. Just make the change. Get out there. Call Anthony. Dave, I love this episode. This is great.
This is important.
Yeah, no, for sure. And as we wrap up, I just want to take 20 seconds to talk about our one and only sponsor, Hillcrest Foods. listen, world-class distribution knowledge, guys like Anthony, guys like Brian.
Stop.
Maybe myself.
Absolutely.
But if you're out there as an independent restaurant and you're buying from one of those big box distributors, maybe they're blue, maybe they're red, whatever they are, give Hillcrest a call. I think in this climate, they're really helping operators do the right thing, bringing you things like Restaurantopia, bringing you things like Hillcrest Hospitality Academy, bringing you things like Anthony. So give them a shout out.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I've been on some good teams. This is by far the best team I've ever been on from an organizational standpoint. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. It's incredible.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you. That's a good one.
This is a high quality pod. Thank you, everybody.
Take care. Adios.
Thank you for listening to Restaurantopia. The gratitude that we have for each and every one of you spending your precious time to listen to this podcast is immeasurable. Please make sure to tell a friend about this podcast. And also, if you have any feedback for us, visit us on restaurantopia.com and drop us a line. You can also subscribe on your favorite place to listen to podcasts. Thank you and have a great day.
Fucking soak it in. This could be an amazing pod.
I think there's a power dynamic with you in that clicker.
No, I'm telling you, it brings me so much joy because it saves me 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
It's
10 tedious minutes.
10 tedious minutes.
Yeah. I mean, and again, this is, maybe going against our evergreen content, but we're coming out of COVID.
I
the vaccine's
like
happening. Like what?
This evergreen content you're dropping. I spent a lot of time thinking about that a few minutes ago. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm like,
it's all your face crunching it.
I was like, I never heard this before. I love this. Please continue.
Yeah.
I just wanted to give you a shout out for that.
Yeah, no problem.
It was great.
I
mean, this, besides maybe the Rosetta Stone, this content will last forever. I mean, this will go on.
I thought you was talking about the Suez Canal for a second, and then I started thinking through, like, he can't. He's not into that, and he doesn't love canals. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, oh my god, I know what he means now.
So we're in.